Hey, we're live today. It is Friday, on beginning of the weekend. Thanks, honeys and hunks, for not for being on your toes since our usual Tuesday Thursday thing's been a little bit tricky with new schedules and stuff. With me, especially with new job, Shay back in Brooklyn. I mean, Jade's always been fine, so I don't even know. Uh, But don't forget to follow us on social media on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, Hardcourt Honeys. And then on Twitter, we got HC Honeys. So, Shay, how's your basketball week been? Have you been on your toes the entire time with the playoffs right now?
Definitely with what's going on with Atlanta, that has been really, really fun to watch. Not as much with the Suns Clippers series. I mean, I know the Clippers were able to pull out a win last night. Not surprised. I kind of expect them to pull one or two out. But I mean, that one, I'm like, no, it's the Suns. Like, come on. Yeah. So.
Jade, how's your general attitude been so far about with these playoffs, especially this conference finals and past two finals?
I love not being able to assume what's going to happen. For the first time in so long, you can make a great guess and be wrong. You can make an out there guess and be right. Both of those things have happened to me in my picks so far. So like it's fun. It's fun basketball. It's fun with no one team just dominating everyone.
Yeah, it's exciting to see all of the chaos that's not predicted,
Right.
not controlled chaos. This is new chaos. But so this week we're going to be talking about the Hawks soaring. We got the Bucks getting hit real hard by a train. We got a burnt out Suns team. Clippers getting their first conference finals W, which I mean this is their first time to it. So I mean, regardless, eventually they were going to get their first one with it, hopefully. And got some new coaching gigs, Carlisle and Kidd as of today. And then we're going to wrap up. There's a new shooting foul rule that I think everyone, especially us, is going to really love. All right, so start off, we're going to be going with the Hawks today. So I'm going to ask you both this. I'm going to start with you, Jade. Are the Hawks legit now?
The Hawks are legit. The Hawks have been legit. They're one of those teams, like I have a few teams in the NBA that based on their personnel, I know I like, but I never get to watch play because I see them when they play my local team because, I'm all the way up here in Canada. I just don't have the access to some of these local markets. And the Hawks have been one of those teams that I've been like, I think something's going to happen in Atlanta. And now it's happening.
Shay, how about you? I know you are such a Trae Young fan, and you might have a little bit of a bias with this, but like them being a fifth seed might be a little bit of an understatement or a mask. So
I definitely think that the coaching change mid-year, that I think really helped. Nate McMillan has really brought together this team, and it's proof that the coach matters a lot because we all knew that the pieces were there. We talked about that, or at least I brought it up. I remember at the beginning of the season where I said, I want to keep my eye on that Hawks team because, with Gallinari there, yeah, he's not as super consistent. But this does seem like a solid place, and they're bringing in the right people for Trae Young to really have a breakout. The issue with them was they didn't have a good coaching staff at or a coaching leadership at the beginning. And now Anthony's bringing my computer charger. I texted him to do that.
Our first guest.
He's sneaking back out. He's like, no. But anyway, yeah. So I think that they're definitely the real deal. I think Trae Young is thriving right now, and I think with that, it's causing his other teammates to really feed off that energy as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, then going on with speaking of McMillan, usually when teams get that extra player, that's what puts them over. Like I always say, Pau Gasol for the Lakers where that he was that one piece that put him over. Is Nate McMillan that piece the entire time, Jade?
I think the timing has to be right too. Because I think kind of a similar thing happened with when Nick Nurse took over the Raptors, where it was time to move on, and the right guy was already on the staff. And sometimes it happens that way, and sometimes it's perfect because you get that continuity. You're not completely throwing all of these players who are clicking, obviously to an extent, with a completely new person. But you've got someone who's qualified, already on the staff, ready to take over. And I think if more transitions went like that, there would be a lot more smoother coaching transitions in the NBA than we see. Obviously, it's not going to go like that every time, but I think it's a big benefit to a team if it can.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you this about Trae, Shay. So is Trae Young going to be finally out of the shadow that is Luka?
I don't think quite yet. Only because
he's getting farther than Luka has.
He has definitely made a name for himself. I almost wonder if that shadow of Luka is still going to be there, and in a way where they're going to probably be using it to try to motivate Luka next season, where it's like, you were supposed to be the better one, or, because of all that trade stuff and their class, that switch. So, I don't know. Like, I still really like their kind of competition, because I do think that it's a friendly competition. But I also, at the same time, don't think we should be putting players against each other, because we see players develop at different times. And I think the biggest difference between Luka and Trae is...
Gosh, geez. We have to wait now. Lead the take. You're so diplomatic with this, please.
I know. But I do think the biggest difference is Dallas is not it right now. In the same way that we're literally talking about the Hawks having the pieces and it's coming together and the coaching staff is coming together. We've been saying all season that Dallas doesn't have all of its parts yet. And Luka needs that. He can't carry the entire team. And he's been doing decently at carrying the team, but then you just get tired. So, I mean, Trae's definitely made a name for himself, but I still think there's going to be some friendly competition.
There's still going to be some.
I have a way less diplomatic answer to that question. If you're
please tell me, because that really bored me.
I think Trae Young, when everything is said and done, Luka might have slightly better stats and be more gifted, but I think we're going to talk about Trae Young more. I think Trae Young is going to have more of those moments in his career where you go, you remember when Trae Young did that? Like, how many has he already had in his first playoffs?
Right. Oh, my word.
And this team isn't done. Like, this team hasn't reached their best, I don't think, even as they are. Like, give the coach a whole season and then another playoffs with this same core group and whatever they're like. I think this team is going to be special. And I think their careers are going to be different. I think we're going to remember them for different reasons. I think Trae Young's going to be more entertaining when everything's all said and done.
If I wish I had a buzzer like with Chuck, it'd be like hot take of the night.
There's something about his presence, like maybe Luka will still develop it more, but Trae is just, he's living his best life right now.
It might be because I haven't seen as much Atlanta games, but I don't see Trae Young complain as much as Luka does. And that is a thing that really turns me off with Luka. As much as I love him, he's like one of my favorite players. It's really rough to watch him play when he gets hit. He almost complains more than like LeBron James and stuff. It gets
you know what? Fix the officiating if you don't want players to complain.
Yeah, but I mean, still.
Because it's atrocious. And we're going to talk about it later, so I won't get into it too much. But like,
he's just complaining. But anywho, so
Trae does complain. I mean, how many technicals has he even gotten just in the playoffs?
And there's been some plays where he was complaining instead of getting back on defense. There's been more than one of those.
Right. And I mean, the issue with Trae is I think he does that final, like, you know how these refs are now where it's like if you throw the ball or throw a hand, the immediate tease. So I think that's really the issue is when he complains, he does it he takes it a little too far. I mean, I probably would too, so I can't be too judgmental. I'd probably be the biggest brat out there if I was in the NBA, but whatever.
Well, we'll talk about those foul things a little bit later. But we're gonna go to the Bucks because they got hit real hard by Atlanta. So I'm gonna ask you this. What about don't miss out on John? I'm gonna ask you this, Jake. Is Coach Bud biting his nails literally every game this series?
I mean, if he's not, he should be. Like, what? I've said so much about it. I feel like a broken record. Like, as a Raptors fan and, somebody that heard a lot of, you guys only got lucky. That's the only reason you won championship. I don't like to say that a team got lucky and that was the main reason for anything. But, like, it's hard to feel otherwise about this Bucks team getting through the net. Like, it's really difficult for me to say, the Bucks really deserve, the Bucks might have beat the Nets if they'd have been healthy. No, that wouldn't have happened. So
yes, he does. He wears a size 18 shoe. Like,
wow.
He wears skis. He has skis for feet.
I've seen that meme where they literally look like hockey pucks.
Yeah, hockey sticks. You mean?
Sticks, yeah, whatever it's called. Y'all
hockey pucks. He's got little nubs for feet.
Listen, Shay's a basketball lover, okay?
I don't know anything about hockey.
I grew up in Canada. That's the only reason I know anything about hockey. I don't care. I had no choice.
If the Bucks don't make it this year, is this their last shot then? Is this kind of like a Houston situation?
I don't think so. They just signed Giannis to the Supermax. The team is better. Like, imagine if any one of our all-time favorite coaches had this team.
Oh,
true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, pick one. Literally pick one.
Greg Popovich would get an undefeated season.
Pick some people that were hoping get coaching jobs right now, like Chauncey Billups or Becky Hammond. I don't think the Bucks are ready to rebuild, especially what they've locked in Giannis. As long as Giannis is there, they have a chance.
That was the most important thing.
They have a chance.
Yeah.
So now that he's locked in, it's time to move on from their coach, and I'm really worried they're not going to because they made the conference final.
I know.
Because how have they not fired him before now?
Well, how many years has he been a coach there? What, 4?
Too many?
Fair.
Yeah.
Shay, so minus Giannis and Drew Holiday, because they've both been playing great right now. Yes, Drew Holiday. What does the rest of the team have to do to win? Because it's the rest of the team that's holding them back.
No, I feel really awful for Drew Holiday, only because you can tell he's putting his all, and then no one else is showing up. I forgot Middleton was on this team last game, which is weird because usually, when he heats up, he's a great player to watch, and then he just didn't heat up. We had some nice dunks and all of that from Giannis, but again, other than that, what else was he doing? And the good thing with that is if they go in the paint, Atlanta doesn't have defense. They literally have no one who can challenge two almost 7-footers. 2 7-footers. It's a very small team. So I think that's where the Bucks, if they get smart, can strategize something much better than what Budenholzer was doing last game. I mean, literally his inbound in that fourth quarter, his last one, it was just ridiculous, where it just didn't even make sense. I think it went to Middleton. Middleton wasn't hot. He hadn't been performing all night. It was just so confusing.
Do you like that?
What?
I was going to say, do you like that last play then when they kicked it out to Connaughton for the final shot? Would you have picked?
Smart. Again, I don't want the Bucks to win, so I I guess so. Finally, they were
Don't
doing
worry
so-
about it. The Bucks aren't going to win. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So Bucks need to obviously change. Yep, he is sick. We're gonna be talking about that a little bit later. He's homesick and he went back home.
We'll be
But
back on
Jade,
that.
Jade, if you are the Bucks, do you double team / triple team Trey and make the team work for it, or do you focus on playing defense for the rest of the team and just have Trey beat you?
You have to make Trey beat you because they got Gallinari, he can shoot. They got Herter, he can shoot. They got Bogdanovich, he can shoot. Like
Collins has been killing it.
Collins has been amazing. Like, as much as Trae Young is having his moment, this is a solid offensive team. They're not as great on defense, but they're one of those, I think they're one of those kind of unique teams that can make up for their defensive woes by pure firepower.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Lou Will on that bench now too? Like,
I don't think he played much last game though.
I just remember he complained going to this Bucks team at the beginning. Like, he didn't want to leave the Clippers.
yeah.
And now it's like, oh, okay. I'll
But
take
like,
that.
yeah, like you can't double team Trey. Also, he's an incredible passer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know, so like you start double and triple teaming him, and he knows his teammates are open. He's going to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference to me between these teams roster wise is that I don't think Giannis is that guy in the way Trae Young is that guy.
Exactly.
You know, if you're going to have, when you're talking about the undisputed leaders of your teams, and it's got to be Giannis and it's got to be Trae. Giannis doesn't have an X factor. He's a really nice guy, and he does his leadership in his way, but he's not the guy I haven't observed that fires up the rest of the team.
Right.
Like, it's almost like they need to separate who their spiritual leader is from their points leader. Like the Raptors did when Kawhi Leonard was their points leader, but Kyle was still the heart of the team.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Giannis has it in him to be both, and that's okay. It's not a criticism. Not everybody has that.
He did call out when Trae Young did the shimmy, when they called the timeout, he was all over the team. He was clapping at them. He was yelling at them, screaming at them. He was like, what are you, just swearing at them, cussing them out?
You know what, though? Like, as much as he's built up kind of this persona in this playoffs, I watched it with my roommate, and he was like, I don't think he meant anything by it. He's like, I really think he was just more open he just kind of took a moment. I'm like, okay. But then that's what Trae said in his post game, or in one of his post game things too, was like, it wasn't really meant to. So I don't know. My roommates came up with that just from watching it before he knew that's what Trae had said. So I kind of have to
just like loosen it up before shooting it. Like,
yeah, I just thought because Drew Holiday got hit with the pick and he thought that Portis was going to step up on him.
Yeah.
Portis didn't do that. So, and he just stood there and stared at Trae. So that's why I thought it was him kind of taunting a little bit, because Portis was just staring at him like, what are you going to do?
I think he just didn't expect, like, why would you be Trae Young and expect to be that open from there?
Well, then, yeah, that's why you get a little shimmy to get ready.
Not only can he shoot from anywhere, but that's one of his best spots.
Yeah.
What, from 3? Yeah, that is his best spot.
And then that's where he shot from.
Exactly, like that
in context. Like, I've looked at his shot charts. Like, that's one of his hottest spots on the floor.
Well, okay, so we hit that East Coast. Now we got that West Coast. Oh. And Suns looked burnt out. Are we going to see another rough outing from Booker there, Shay?
I'm not sure. I missed the game last night. I went to a comedy show. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, who'd you see? Side note.
It was just like a friend's show.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was good. I don't want you to think, but like.
Well, yeah, I just know a lot of stand-up in New York. Okay. Yeah, anywho,
they're it's a amateur show, but it was good. It was fun, but I did miss the game. I did watch some of the highlights, and I was disappointed to hear that the Suns lost. But I mean, they were already looking burnt out in the game prior, and then having to make up for Chris Paul. No, they did. Like, you could see that the Clippers were the ones that were struggling so bad that, like, oh my gosh, it is so sad. Like, I had secondhand embarrassment for Paul George when he missed those 2 free throws, and I was like, it's literally, that's going to be what loses the game. And then that was like, I had like secondhand embarrassment for him.
And then my boy DeAndre Ayton getting up.
And let's not forget that pass.
Yes.
That inbound pass by Jay Crowder was redonkulous. It was perfect.
Beautiful. But I think making up for, because, like, again, they went in mentally knowing Chris Paul wasn't there. And Chris Paul's good for those moments when they have like a little bit of like they need that reinforcement, right? Like, he's really the reinforcement guy, as well as like Jade was saying, the separation between like the heart of the team and the scorer. Like, he's kind of there in that leadership position that works really well. So him being away out of the locker room, all of that, I think it just put it messed up their flow a little bit. And now that he's back, I'm hoping that we'll like see it come through, because the last thing I want is the Clippers in the finals. No, we don't need that. We don't need
that. See, I have a very different take on what's going on with the Suns, especially in the last game, which I did watch. Devin Booker's nose is broken in 3 places and he's wearing a mask. Don't tell me that that's not going to mess up your shot the first night.
That's true.
Well, what about like masked Kobe or masked Richard Hamilton or masked I'm just kidding. Think of all the masked people.
They've done it, but I mean, I think it's forgivable that, you know, you have to do that for your first game, and it's going to be a little bit off. Yeah. Like, I remember the first time I started wearing glasses. If I get thicker frames, it takes me weeks to get used to it. So, right. And this is on your face. He was moving it. He was adjusting it during plays, not between plays. Like, during... Like, it can't be comfortable. It's going to take a learning curve. He's practicing in it today. I expect him to be better next game. Chris Paul hasn't played in 11 days, out for protocols, blah, blah, blah. We won't go. We covered that already. But he's back, and it's his first game back. Like, you cannot be a Clippers team and think we're going to get those kind of performances out of Chris Paul and Devin Booker again. You can't count on that.
Yeah.
So with Chris Paul back and seeing what it is with like one game back with all of it, do they stick with the same game plan there, Jade, or do they mix it up to throw the Clippers off?
I think one of the things I like about the Suns is it feels a lot, they're a bit flexible as a team. And I think with where they are right now, they're going to have to figure things out, because it is the game they won is their first game against the Clippers in the series, and they didn't have Chris Paul. So I think it's just going to be a matter of them kind of finding a rhythm again. And I think you make a game plan after that once you see who is where your points are coming from, where things are coming from.
I just love Monty Williams right now. So like, I'm curious on what he's got all cooked up. So even after the rough play from CP3 and Booker to lose what they did, but with the fashion, how does that make you feel if you're a Suns player being like, okay, this is what happened, but when you look at it, we still actually didn't do terrible overall, minus the bad shooting from our top 2 players.
I think you got to be a little bit encouraged. I was thinking that watching the first half, seeing like Booker doesn't have points, Chris Paul doesn't have points, and it was a close game until the third quarter. Yeah. And the Clippers came out of the half and just put a beat down on the rest. I was worried about it because the way the half ended with
the half court.
Yes.
Or no, yeah.
And the bank shot. It was a bank shot from Paul George, right?
Yep.
And I was like, I said this to my boyfriend because we were watching the game together. I'm like, that's not how I want to have to close, because I'm going for the Suns. And I was worried that especially because they were in LA, I was really worried that was going to be enough to shift the momentum, because sometimes that happens, especially in the playoffs, one thing
yeah.
and then a break and play for halftime, and you never get momentum back sometimes. And I was worried going into the half that was what was going to happen, and it did. I didn't expect the Suns to sweep the Clippers, so it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Well, so we'll flip to the other team that none of us really care for, the LA Clippers. So this is roughly the same team as last year. Slight pieces changed around. But if Ty Lue gets this team to the finals, is he a better coach than Doc Shea?
Gross.
I don't want to say yes, but
You
also
kind of gotta say yes.
But yeah, and we know that Doc has some coaching issues just overall.
No.
So Doc is a little overrated.
No.
Overrated. I saw a tweet from StatMuse that's saying how many double-digit, almost 20-point leads he's blown to lose series last year and then again this year.
That's so sad.
3 for each playoffs in the series that they were eliminated in.
Wow.
So we got a regretful Lue siding. Got it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Are you same with you, Jade? A regretful Lue sighting?
Yeah. Regretful. I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't
love it. While we are dealing with some weird Facebook issues that I know that's what Taylor's looking at, we did get a response to our tweets for Shay tweeted out to come ask us questions. So one of our fans, Andrew Livingston at AndrewNova33, has 3 questions. His first question is, how do I get my kids to sleep so I can just be tired from watching the games? I don't have any help for that. You guys got any help for that? Sorry, Andrew. We don't have kids.
Tell them to run in circles until they're tired. I don't know. I'm like, yeah.
We will do better on the next questions because they are basketball related. So his next question is who are your ideal finals matchups team wise? I know who I want to see in the finals. Who do you guys want to see in the finals?
I think we're the same with I would love a Hawks Suns series.
Yeah.
I think so fun. They're both pretty high energy. They're both really a beautiful offensive matchup.
They play team. And the thing that I find is going to be interesting about that series, and the reason I will pick the Suns, is the Suns play incredible team defense.
That's true.
Incredible. And defense wins championships. I know it's a cliche. It's a cliche for a reason. But I think it's going to be a really, there's no other combination that I think has the potential for as much excitement as a Hawks Suns final.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
So the last question, the one-on-one battle, what do you want to see out of the series? So I guess that's Booker and Trae Young. I mean, I think that's going to be pretty special just because it's them and they're doing what they're doing.
They're both 2 guys that are coming up in the league, similar in age, similar in their time in the league. They're not too far apart in draft classes.
And they both have no fear of the stage.
Exactly. They're not.
None.
If anything, they thrive in those moments. So it's going to be an interesting. Yeah, that's because can you imagine if it's the Clippers and the Bucks?
Gross! Don't even say it.
I don't even want to watch that.
I would be so I think either way we're safe. One of the teams we prefer is making the finals.
Yes.
I don't think there's any way both the Clippers and the Bucks make the finals.
No, unless we somehow wake up in hell,
On that note, thank you, Andrew, for tweeting us your questions. I'll throw it back over to Taylor now.
I mean, I hope you guys are seeing it on Facebook. I'm trying to figure out
if they're down, this time.
What? All right, what I'm gonna do is on Facebook, and then we're gonna add it back on.
Oh.
That might work.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Okay, so boom, 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 boom. Clippers got it. So Paul George, as much as he's frustrated us, he's been playing pretty solid. Are you impressed with him, or are you still expecting more from this guy, Jade?
No, he's doing what he has to do. The Clippers are built to be a 2-star team, and he's only 1 star. I think he's done what can be expected. I think he's shown up most of the time. Those missed free throws are unfortunate, but like if you're going to go by his averages throughout the playoffs, you know, they're a 2-star team.
Yeah.
Definitely. So he's also, because he's been one of the few people performing well for them, he is playing very heavy minutes. Last game, he played 43 minutes. So if this series goes on longer, who is the Clipper that has to step up? Are we going to be seeing like Reggie Jackson? But he's been real streaky lately. Kawhi Leonard is out for game 4. Bleacher Report just reported that a couple minutes ago. So who on this team is going to have to be that big guy, or is that just going to have to be a team effort?
It's a team effort.
Yeah.
Like having seen Kawhi Leonard firsthand, if Kawhi's not playing, there's no one person that can make up for that. I was thinking about this today, and I'm thinking, you know, if the Clippers had been less pissy about the preferential treatment, maybe Kawhi doesn't play back-to-backs this season, and maybe he's available right now.
Right. No,
Just
I
saying.
thought about that too. Like, I don't know. And no one on the Clippers, like, no one's name on the Clippers is like, oh, if that person has the potential to, like, rise up and take that place. Like, all of them are just kind of, like, streaky, you know? So I don't really see anyone but Paul George being the person. So that means that, like, their team effort just has to completely rise a whole nother level. I hope it doesn't happen, though.
Yeah, I didn't care for coming up too much questions for them because I was just like, screw this team.
No,
But
Come on, we have to pretend to be impartial.
I mean, and that's all we can do is try, and that's what we just did. Because
Exactly.
I want to talk about some coaching stuff. Rick Carlisle, comfy, cozy home back in Indiana, where he was an assistant coach there, and then also had very successful years there as a head coach. Already finding it this fast after about a week being parting ways from Dallas. Are you surprised it came that fast, Shay?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, I mean, of course he's gonna go back.
I'm pretty sure this was happening.
Oh yeah.
Like this was done before we heard about it.
Yeah.
This was done when Indiana decided to fire Nate Bjorkgren.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way somebody wasn't on the phone with Rick Carlisle and being like, "Hey, wanna, you know?" Like, I just for it to
Remember
have
Indiana?
gone
He had a lot of fun, right?
right, like for it to have gone this quickly, you know, it's like in free agency where technically they're not allowed to talk until 5 p.m. on whatever day it is, but they've all talked because these deals are done like shots. They've talked behind the scenes, and I feel like this for Rick Carlisle was kind of like, and who wouldn't want to? Why wouldn't he want to go finish his coaching career potentially at home
in a place where everyone loves him,
where everyone and he's a great coach, and the team is ready to take a step. It's just everything all came together, but there's no way this happened. There's no way this deal wasn't done before we heard about it.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, he's probably spending Christmas Day with some of his old coaching staff or the front office. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're having barbecues whenever he can come up. I'm sure that they were, hinting at it even in the last year. If you get let go, you got a spot here.
Right. Or even he didn't, they parted ways mutually and amicably, but it wasn't time for Carlisle to leave Dallas because there was potential there that obviously is not going to work out with Porzingis. I think we're at the point where it's just, we tried it. It was worth trying. It was a worthy idea. It's not going to work.
It's not.
It wasn't
And
worthy.
so-
A good idea with it. Pieces were right with it.
But now that that's clear, it makes sense for Rick Carlisle to move on. And with the right coach and another season or two, I think the Pacers are just as relevant as Mavericks.
Yeah.
So Reggie Miller said if this team can't win without Carlisle, this team should be blown up. And so this is a team that has Sabonis, Miles Turner, Brogdon, LeVert, TJ Warren as their starters, a great starting lineup. Where can he lead this team in a harder Eastern Conference? Because it's not a pushover conference anymore.
No.
It's not a pushover conference, but it is a conference that is very much in flux, which means there are top spots to be grabbed.
Yeah.
Well, yes, exactly. So where can you see this happening, Jade?
Like what seed next season kind of thing?
Yeah, can they get deeper into the playoffs? Are we going to see a second round with it? Will we see a conference finals even?
I think we're at 2 to 3 seasons away from a conference finals, potentially 2 to 3. I think I see them like a 5th seed next season, potentially, depending on. I mean, there's a lot of moves. There's a lot of stuff that's going to change in the offseason. So, but like the way that the lay of the land right this moment, I would say like 5th, 6th seed.
5th, 6th seed. So still roughly around the same thing.
Yeah, well, there's stuff to be learned. There's a new coach to be, and probably an entire coaching staff. Like you have to. I think people underestimate how long it can take to get used to changes. Maybe Carlisle is even better than we think, and he goes in and it works right away. But like you said, the Eastern Conference is harder. The Hawks are going to get better. The Sixers might get better depending on where they move. If Embiid continues this kind of performance next season and they add a couple pieces like the Knicks, I have every expectation that they're going to stay relevant as long as they keep doing what they've been doing. So, yeah, I think it's going to take a beat because some of these other teams that are on the rise are not going to need to be making big coaching changes.
So speaking of Indiana, though, are they is it tough to trust them right now when it comes to coaching, considering when they fired Nate McMillan, it was not that great and not that on great terms. And the coach that they just had, I can't pronounce his last name.
Jordan.
There we go, that's what Jade said. They only gave him 1 year to work with this team in a very confusing season.
Yeah.
Is Indiana given a fair chance to, yes, I know if you get Rick Carlisle on your step, you are going to say you want to join, you're on the team. But do you think Indiana kind of threw some shade with that one, Shay?
Definitely. And I think in some ways they might be almost trying to make up for some of the other decisions they've made this season by bringing back a classic. Because they have made some kind of weird movements. They are not super relevant, as you guys said. Like, the Eastern Conference is not really where it was even last season or the season before, where we didn't really expect much from those games. It was just, not even a fair chance. That's why we were really surprised at the competition that we got with the finals last year. I mean, it ended up being a great round, which was weird because we were like, the Eastern Conference, is anybody even going to be able to compete with anyone in the Western Conference? Now we have less of that concern, and we're starting to see a reemergence of the Eastern Conference that I really enjoy because I don't want to watch boring basketball.
You don't? Really?
I know that's surprising.
Hot take of the night. Don't want to watch boring basketball.
Everyone tweet it, quote it, tattoo it on you, everywhere. But I think in some ways bringing back Rick Carlisle it's almost like putting a Band-Aid. But you know what? It's not really the worst Band-Aid. I'm not going to complain. And for
Band-Aids
fans,
do work.
Maybe it's one of those really nice Band-Aids that has the extra glue with it that seals up the cut too. Yeah. Maybe we got a grade A Band-Aid with it. Have some gauze with it wrapped up.
I think it's a good move on their part. It was a little shady for the other guys, but it's fine. We're fine.
I mean, Nate McMillan's in the Eastern Conference Finals right now with a team that has a legit shot to go to the finals. So, yeah. So, speaking of more coaching stuff, Mavericks, assemble, because bringing back Jason Kidd. Oh, getting another leg cramp. Okay, Jason Kidd, he's back, and it's great. Did he get it for his ties in Dallas, Shay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just got a cramp in my thigh. That's what you get for working out and you don't get enough electrolytes back in you. But did he get it for his ties?
Probably. I mean, that front office definitely seems to be one that you're either in or you're out with. I don't know. I just get that vibe from what's his face, Shark Boy. What's his name? Oh my God.
Cuban?
Cuban? I don't know why I couldn't think of
Shark Boy.
Only thing I could think of was like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I'm like, what?
I just realized you and I would be great at like charades and those kinds of things because there's no reason that should have worked.
I mean, he had, he did have high recommendations from high praise from Giannis, LeBron, and Carlisle was the person that said, "Hey, you should get him." But he has a 183 and 100 to 190 record. So, is that enough of a record to give a good guess at, or is that still too little?
If you think you're signing Luka to a supermax,
right?
That's not enough. I don't think.
No.
I don't like. I mean, I might be biased. I don't trust Jason Kidd. He has dead eyes. I don't trust people with dead eyes. I don't think he's gonna gel with Luka.
Well, just about to.
That's my call. I don't think they're gonna get along.
Dead eyes.
But Luka was one of the guys that is a fan of Jason Kidd.
You can be a fan of someone and then you can work with them.
But so they both have great basketball minds. Mm-hmm. So do you think Kidd will be able to teach him more, though?
I think it depends on if they get along.
You just don't want to give anything of a chance with this one, so I'm just going to bring it to Jade or Shay on this one. So, Jade, I'm not even going to talk to about this because she's just going to say the same thing the entire time.
If I end up being right, I will be insufferable. Consider yourself warned.
You can be right about it. I don't give a rat's butt on it, but you just really ruin it right now. So, but. Shay,
Anthony, look at what Anthony just said about Jason Kidd. He used to spill water on the floor when the rest weren't looking for a free timeout.
Hey,
doesn't surprise me at all.
No, that's what
I've seen other coaches do stuff like that too. It's not uncommon.
I wouldn't like them either.
Yeah, no, like honestly, you know.
I'm just saying that's not a new thing in the league. That is not a new thing.
Yeah, but like there are certain things you hear about somebody doing and they belong to a certain group of people. Yeah. And then there's a group of people that would never do stuff like that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're saying a lot. So you've been saying a lot with it.
I mean, that is my job here.
Yeah, but it's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff too.
You're just mad because you like Jason Kidd and I'm not.
I do, but no, it's I'm curious with like if there's even a chance, but you're not giving it a single chance. Listen, so I'm gonna go to the shooting foul change. So hey
if
everyone,
you have women's intuition, we could talk, but I have that thing that you don't have.
I'm like tempted right now just to leave right now because you're not making it easy for me to help get this thing going. But so let me pull up what the rule is. The rule change. So everyone knows of that stupid shoot. You weren't even originally gonna shoot the ball, but you still do the pump and they still fly. So then you purposely lean into that. We all hate that.
Hate it.
So this is what it is. So offensive foul on the shooter who launches / leads into a defender at an abnormal angle. Offensive foul on a shooter who kicks his leg out at an abnormal angle. Well, that's the Reggie Miller move. That's been around since the 90s, pretty much. An offensive foul on a shooter who jumps abruptly backward or sideways into a defender. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So it's offensive foul instead of a defensive foul that it's been for forever. Do you like it that it's an offensive foul now?
Yes.
It's about dang time.
Like, my parents, that if there's one thing that made watching the game with my parents kind of boring is they just, oh, that shouldn't be a foul. I'm be like, yeah, I know, but it
And
is
it
right
is.
now. Can you
Yeah.
just? You're really ruining the game right now.
Right.
Like, you really are. Like,
But it's frustrating, and the one that really bothers me is when they do the pump fake,
Yeah.
and a player has his hands out. They don't bite on the fake, but they have their hand out. So the second time they go up, they go through the defender's arm. Like, how? Why should that be a defensive foul if the defender is not creating the contact?
Exactly.
That makes a pump fake an unguardable move. That's not fair.
Yeah, is this going to lead back to more of playing near the hoop again, or more of a mid-range stuff? Because you're not going to get those fouls from three, which that's what everyone's been eyeing. So just go back to the hoop. So are we going to see something like that again?
I think it's going to show us who are the true shooters and who have been pretending for a little while now. Because the true shooters they're going to keep shooting that, and because the foul is icing.
Yeah.
Right? These players that play for the foul, which makes me crazy. It was one of my biggest criticisms of DeMar DeRozan when he was in Toronto. Don't play for the foul. The foul should be icing. You're playing for a bucket. Play for the bucket.
Yeah. That should be where your first, that should be your motivation unless you're on the defensive side. Anyway, you know what I mean. But, so that's I think what is so frustrating about James Harden all the time, right? Is he's playing because he wants to constantly entice others to foul. And then he gets to shoot free throws, and we all know he's really good at free throw shooting. I'm not saying he's a bad shooter too, but it's really frustrating to watch him play when it messes up the flow of the game when he's getting all of these fouls. And kind of like you said about with your parents, if there's going to be a foul, let it at least be on the right person.
Right. And the other thing with Harden, too, is that all of his free throw shooting, I think, unfairly inflates his averages.
Yes.
You talk about, James Harden averaged such and such many points this season. Yeah, well, 12 of those were free throws.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many of those are free throws?
So we're talking the difference between a 40-point game and a 30-point. 30 points is still great.
Oh, yeah.
But 40 points is 40 points. That's a
Right.
big difference. And now he's going to have to get them all more honestly. And I'm not mad at him. I'm a very much don't hate the player, hate the game kind of person. The game is changing. And so now we don't have to hate this anymore. And I think it's going to be pretty entertaining to see some of these guys attempt to adjust to this.
Yeah.
So speaking of players for it, the league had been specifically pointed out of Luka, Trey, and Harden as the primary people for the change. Whose game will it affect more, Shay?
I mean, part of me wants to say Harden only because he does bank on that. Where I feel like watching Luka and Trey, I don't feel like their motivation is just, I know they complain when they don't get it or when they do get called for fouls, but I do feel like their motivation is more pure, while Harden just isn't. And I don't know if this is complete bias because I enjoy watching Trey.
I think a lot of it is bias since you like Trey and you despise Harden and you like Luka. So I'm sorry, Shay, but all of this.
Call me out. I'm here to get called out. I'm here.
See, I would rank it. I think it's going to affect Trey the least.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to affect Harden the most, but I think Luka's a close second behind that. I think when it's taken away, they're going to realize how much they were relying on it.
True.
I would just say Harden in the fact where he's been in the league long enough where he's been able to rely on it, and now he won't. Luka and Trey can morph into the new league since they're only 3 years in the league right now.
I think, I know for me, I think my anti-Harden bias has made me not credit him for being flexible as he is.
That's true.
He's been really flexible moving to Brooklyn. And I said back when we had Jason Jackson on, is it Jason Jackson? Jason.
From the Heat. Yeah.
Yeah, from the Heat. I remember saying to him when we had that show, Harden has to change the way he plays if he wants to get a ring. And the window is closing on his ability to do that. And he was like, it's true. He's got a few years. And I feel like we're seeing that change happening. So I just the fact that he's already demonstrated that he can, I think he might adjust to it a little bit better than we expect. I think he's relied on it because it was there and it was easy. And why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because as much as I don't like him, when he's not relying on like getting free throws and stuff, he is fun to watch.
He's really talented.
He is a talented basketball player, which is the thing that's when I see talented basketball players just try to take the easy thing, like the easy stupid foul like that. It's just like, man, you could do that anyways to begin with. You don't need that extra help. Like you said, it should be an extra.
Yeah, a lot of the time they probably still are going to get fouled.
Yes, this is going to be a rule. These are going to be rules that are going to be really. I could see these ones be looked at a lot now.
But that kind of brings me to another point I had, because the officiating's been garbage for a few seasons now, and it gets worse every season. And now we're adding more stuff that these guys have to pay attention to. Like, when is the NBA going to realize they need another set of eyes and they need to do more with the replay center?
Yeah.
I think every game should have, they announce the officiating team before every game. There should be a team member in the replay center for every game who's officially part of the officiating crew, and all the officials should have to take shifts working in the replay center throughout the season.
Yeah, especially because they take so much time out
now. They take so much time. And it's like watching tape.
Guys in there. Like, why aren't they replaying it already? Especially
exactly. Every time there's a whistle blown, somebody should be looking at the play.
Yeah.
Just in case. The time's already there. You don't, you're already stopping play. Somebody should be looking at it. And they should be official members of the officiating team. They should be able to just make a call based on, I looked at the tape. Because here's the thing. When we are watching the game as fans, we know how the play is going to get called based on the replays they're able to show us, sometimes a minute before they make a call on the floor.
Yeah.
How is that possible? They should be at least as fast as the network broadcasting the game.
Was it second Suns Clippers game that literally the last
took half an hour for the last 5 minutes or 3 minutes?
Oh my! It was torturous. It was the longest.
It was so annoying.
Fourth quarter I'd ever watched in my life because of the replays. Ugh.
Oh, and you think that things would clean up, especially once they added the coach's challenge and everything that.
The coach's challenge is not complete as far as I'm concerned.
No.
If a coach gets a challenge right, they should get another challenge until they get one wrong.
Or at least not lose a timeout.
Or at least not lose a timeout.
That's what the NFL does. When you throw a challenge,
right,
then you don't lose. If you fail the challenge, you lose the timeout. If you don't fail, you keep the timeout.
Well, and I think the number of successful coaches' challenges in the last couple of seasons has been pretty telling. Because there's been a lot of successful challenges.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
More than you should expect to see if your officiating is up to par.
That's one thing. A little quick Timberwolves thing. That's a thing that our new coach Chris Finch is really good at. Mm-hmm. Was he had a handful in his little bit of coaching this year. He had a good chunk of overturned calls that he was able to get.
Yeah,
but it also felt good because it was also a lot of time players were saying to check it out, and he trusted the player for it. So, what you were gonna say, Jade?
I can't remember. Go ahead. It's gone.
Well, I think we got a pretty solid chat through with the stuff. We got through a lot of things. We got Eastern Conference, Western Conference breakdowns. We got some coaching changes and everything, and then that beloved shooting foul change that we've all been happy for hearing. So on that note, It's fast break time, ladies and gents. It is fast break time. So, for anyone that doesn't know the fast break, which is 3 questions that I've come up with that Shay and Jade have absolutely zero knowledge about, and I want to hear their takes here and now. Okay, so first one has to deal with Scottie Pippen because for some reason he just wants to stay relevant. So I want to talk about what he had to say about Charles Barkley first. So first, Charles Barkley said he only got arrested for throwing some little white guy out of a window. I ain't never seen him fight a black man unless there were referees around. He plays to his role like he's tough. I don't know nobody he done whooped. What do you think of that? Pippen got some truth with that, and they also called KD saying that he's a quitter essentially.
Scottie Pippen is giving me a hard time right now because he also said some stuff about Ben Simmons, which was spot on. So, did you know about this?
I didn't. No.
Okay, I have it in my tweets. Patrick sent it to me this morning.
The Kevin Durant clapback though was. Do you guys know what he said back?
I know what he said.
He said he called out Pippen and the fact of you wanted to rehab during the season so you could have your summer off.
True.
And then there was one other thing that he brought up too, where it was just like, you need to do your research, or like when Kevin Durant can do a legit burn on you. So here's what he said about Ben Simmons situations. He goes, I watched a lot of games that Doc shouldn't have had him in the fourth quarter. If I give you a deck of cards and I give you a deuce of heart and a deuce of diamond and we're playing spades, but you keep grabbing those cards when you know you're going to lose in that category. This kid has been this way the whole time, and Doc brought him in and set him up for failure. He's been like this. And you guys know he's been like this, and Doc kept putting him in the game. He kept letting the team do fouls on him, take him out of the game. The Lakers did it with Shaq, and he's bigger and more dominant and probably more fearless than Ben Simmons. Doc made him be a failure. He's still a good basketball player. That's his weakness, shooting the ball. If you take that away from Ben Simmons, he's got no weaknesses. That's Giannis's weakness too, but Giannis doesn't mind being humiliated. That's the difference between him and Ben Simmons. Giannis will go to the free throw line, shoot 2 effing air balls, and come right down the court next time and try and dunk on you. If Ben Simmons misses a free throw, he's going to start passing it before he gets to the free throw line on the other end. He doesn't even want to cross half court with the basketball because he's so afraid of being humiliated going to the foul line. That's why he didn't try to make that dunk at the end of the game. He's been doing it all year. So, like, the KD stuff and the Charles stuff, I'm like, come on, Scotty. Like, really, that's where you're going to go? But, like, the Ben Simmons stuff, I'm like, I mean, he's right. He's right. Yeah. So I'm very torn about my feelings for Scottie Pippen are very confused right now.
I just, like, why are you, like, who asked for your opinion on any of this stuff? Like, even when he's right, it's like...
The guys that played in the NBA always get asked for their opinions by somebody. Like, that was tweeted by a quality editor for Bleacher Report.
Bleacher?
Bleacher?
A Bleacher Report? Okay, question 2. Say, hypothetically, the Suns win the finals and Chris Paul gets that title that we all want him to win. Where does that put him point guard ranking? Because that was the one thing that was going to hang over his head. Where does he rank Shay?
I mean, I still think he's in the top 10. I mean, I think that's undeniable.
Just top 10? Really?
I mean... I don't know if I'm quite ready to say top 5 yet, but maybe if he wins this ring. So maybe because that's the question, I'll go ahead and say, is it of all time?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I still want to say just top 10. I don't know.
Top 10 for point guards? Jade, how about you?
I go top 15.
All time?
Yeah.
Even with the title? Okay.
There's a lot of legendary point guards to be considered.
Yeah. But yeah. That's why I asked the question. Yeah. All right. So that last DeAndre Ayton perfect pass Crowder play, we all loved it.
Hot.
Yeah, we did.
When was the last time? I'm gonna ask you both what year. When was the last time a play like that was done? Shay, I'll go with you first.
Oh.
Like the inbound leading to a basket, it's like an alley-oop.
To win the game like that, to
Oh,
have
to
that
win the
situation where like the ball is right above the rim.
Right.
Jonas
Let's
Valanciunas did it a few years ago.
What's a few years ago?
Well, he was still on the Raptors, so 2017-18 season, I think.
okay.
Shay?
And I was gonna say 2015.
Okay, well, it was actually by Tyson Chandler with the Suns
Oh.
in 2017.
Oh, I got the year right, but not for the right reasons.
Right.
But Tyson Chandler even posted on his Twitter account while everyone was just like, well, like Clippers fans were like, that's goaltending and stuff. He tweeted right away. He's like, y'all guys need to look at the book.
Yeah.
Because
It's not
that is a
goaltending
perfect-
on an impound. It's not.
That's
a
what,
goaltend on
when I
an
told my
inbound
dad,
pass.
he's just like, did they call it goaltending? Because they shouldn't have. My dad, who all of his basketball knowledge has just been from primarily watching me play basketball growing up, he goes, well, you can't shoot the ball when you're out of bounds. That's a dead ball. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, that's when you know a player looks and the coach looks through the playbook. If you listen to the last time out, Monty told DeAndre Ayton, he goes, you have to dunk it. There's no other way we're going to do this, is you have
Right.
to dunk it.
It was the right play. It was executed perfectly. It was amazing.
He actually also, DeAndre Ayton took the jersey home with him and put it on his son, his baby son, for the night. Because that's going to be a play, that's going to be like a top 5 play for his career,
Yeah.
even though he's only in his 3rd year.
Man, he's playing well.
Okay, actually, surprise question. So, take in 3rd year how great that these guys have been. So, take Trae Young, Luka, and DeAndre Ayton, this current year, 3rd year, versus Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Bosh. I'm not going to throw LeBron in with that. Bosh was All-Star that year by that point. Or
I gotta take the new school guys because they shoot. The shooting, I think, is the only difference maker between the old school and new school. Those guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that they're just all around. Like, yeah.
That was one of the fast break questions I was originally going to ask that I just remembered right at the end. So that's why I added it.
Heck yeah.
Like I said, that's why I didn't add LeBron, because LeBron was already like almost winning his first MVP at that point. So
yeah,
let's get some other guys that were growing up. Okay. So, wow. Got a lot of stuff done. Got a meaty hour episode in. There's some playoff basketball that's going to be starting soon that I think we're all going to be wanting to get to. I don't know if you guys will be watching it. I will be watching it. So, okay, I just had to check because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're going to do another comedy show tonight.
The Suns are my team in place of the Raptors. I have to. And then the Hawks, like the Suns and the Hawks, I'm so happy that both of them are still playing because, like, I would be really disinterested otherwise in what's in the teams left.
No, the Hawks were my last team. I picked 3 teams to kind of like look at, and the other 2 got eliminated. So Hawks are my people.
I picked 2, and they were the Hawks and Suns.
Oh,
those were my teams of interest at the beginning of the season.
I did Hawks for the playoffs for Eastern Conference primarily because of Nate McMillan and John Collins.
Mm.
Those were like Trae Young, like he's great. Capella, he's fine. But I got a huge love for John Collins. But
he's really nice too.
Yes, he's a good dude. Okay, so it's been great. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week with new stuff, new info, and the usual fun though. Bye.